Okay, I'm going to try and make languages snappy. Just a bit of foreshadowing here. I've got the script. I haven't done that. Basically, they should be optional for people who are planning to go and live /work /whatever in the relevant countries. And even then, don't you think you should have started learning earlier than high school? I mean, it's a proven fact that... Hang on.
Is it easier to learn a language when you are younger?
Okay, yes, it's a proven fact that the younger one is, the easier it is for one to learn a second or any language. Hence, babies are taught to speak pretty early on. Okay, a couple of personal anecdotes. This one doesn't really relate to the subject, but I can't really not mention it here. Once we were waiting outside the class at the start of a Spanish lesson, you know, as you do. And we weren't even making all that much noise, and she, teacher, pops up and has a yell at us for not understanding this mentality of standing out there, and it's just like, well, if we went in, you'd yell at us for going in before you said we could, and has nobody ever waited outside your classroom before? Has this seriously never happened before? You must have been teaching for years. I mean, I don't mean to be rude, well, yes I do, but you know what I mean. You're not the youngest. Has this seriously never happened to you before? It must have happened. Everybody does it everywhere. In fact, I'm pretty sure we've stood out here like this outside your room even before. This teacher's one redeeming feature is that once she said to us that she prefers teaching the language to us as quote-unquote a useful life skill as opposed to just to get through exams. That's one thing that really annoys me about loads of subjects, particularly geography in fact, that all they ever say is, well, in the GCSE there's going to say that you've got to do this and you've got to do that, you've got to do the other, and just, you're almost literally admitting that this is pointless and isn't going to be useful for life. You're only explaining how it's going to be useful in the GCSEs and just, And even then, even if you could claim that a language is a useful talent, I mean, I guess it is, if you can do it and you're good at it and you can put it into useful practice. Like, if you want to go into a career that involves it, that's fine, that's great, you can choose it, you can do it, be you. But just, even then, there's still only one more language. There's still, like, hang on.
How many languages are there in the world?
7,097 languages in the world as of 2019, according to this website. And, also this one underneath it. That's still only one more down, so you can now speak two, and there's another one, forgotten the figure already, 1,095 to go. Anyway, side rant over, now back to the point. Once the teacher, who shall Mrs. remain Fallon anonymous, had a go at us for not being at all enthusiastic in a lesson, I mean, even less enthusiastic than we usually are, and was all like, I'm already fluent in Spanish, and I just thought, good for you! Nobody cares! Why are you having a go at us like we've asked you to teach us? None, close enough, of us want to be here. Plus, by being a fluent teacher, I mean, I don't know what jobs you've had potentially in the past. I mean, you've probably had at least one more, sub being nice, you're flaming ancient, but you've basically indirectly admitted by being a teacher that the only job you can go into with the knowledge of a second language is teaching the next generation and make them waste effort that could otherwise go into useful stuff, which can be whatever you're interested in, provided it's not geography, obviously, there are limits, who will in turn only teach the next generation, who will only teach the next, and so on and so on and so on, and just passing a useless skill down the generations with nobody at any point putting it to any decent other use. Okay, there are admittedly probably some, in fact, probably quite a lot of jobs that having a second language is good for. As with the combination of bits of science and sociology that is passed off as geography. But for everyone who isn't interested in any of these career paths, my point still stands.
Play footy in Spain.
Can't you just play football in England? I mean, no offence, but surely English players who go to play in Spain and don't speak Spanish are fine. Anyway, continue.
Speak to my nan.
Okay, I'll give you this one, but have you seriously had no influence of presumably the only language she can speak throughout your entire childhood whatsoever up until now? Even if you have, then that makes it significantly easier for you to learn it in its entirety than your average person. So that's defeated the whole object of this, that being that this is presumably trying to make people see a good reason to take a language as a subject. And if it isn't the only language she speaks, then there's still not much point learning the other one. Anyway, carry on, sorry. You haven't even learned it, have you? You're just an actor.
I'm choosing a language so I can travel the world.
Okay, I mean, fair enough, but did I hear you right there?
I'm choosing a language.
A language. One language. Juan. My point from the other video exactly. That's still only one more language you've put all the effort into learning, so still only one more place you'll be able to speak in. Okay, carry on.
Text friends around the world.
Well, hang on. If you need their language to be able to talk to them, then how did you befriend them in the first place?
Play against the world.
Okay, fair enough. All I can say is that that's still only one more language.
And I'm choosing a language for my future.
Care to elaborate on that? Nope, didn't think so. Another thing that's annoyed me lately is that in Spanish, yeah, this is a recurring thing. Definitely not just because I'm out of other video ideas. But one of the websites we use, because today, in fact, as we did, we had a computer room lesson which was quote-unquote booked by the teacher, who we know I don't have the best history with. And then people were making, again, it's this tiny little amount of noise thing. It's like we were making a tiny little bit of noise, and you know, this is all disgraceful. I'm never booking this again. No offence, but what were you expecting exactly? But yeah, that's not the point. The point is that one of those websites we use is entirely in Comic Sans. First of all, that's not good for a start. You're off to a bad start already, you annoying little yellow fish. Monolingualism, i.e. speaking one language, can be cured. It's not a disease. It's not an illness. It's not an ailment. It annoys me that some people see this as such a thing that it's useful to learn a second language. I'm sorry, but obviously not counting the minorities to whom it is, it's not useful! I don't know why that annoys me so much. It just does. It's just like the... Another one of those websites, this one, is incredibly infuriating, but this is the screen with which you are sometimes presented whilst going through learning the words, right? So it tells you in English, I hope I'm going to point in the right kind of place here, in English, and then gives you the box to put it in Spanish, but it gives you no context. It's just like, do I put it just ending in A, or do I put it with the AN? Because there is no way of knowing which it is, and I brought this up. This is like the deal about the side in football being pointless. No one listens to me. No one else sees this. It's like, right, I present you with this. Does it end in the N or not? Exactly. Blimey, how bad are the rest of them? Oh, and also, I just looked into it and how much it costs schools, and just saying, it's more expensive than my editing software. The Comic Sans alone should be enough to deter any sane school from buying this. I mean, just... And she said it was very accurately written. I mean, that's actually not that bad. There's... Sorry. The EVI went on for quite a while, and I'm gonna put it up there. See, I don't need the green screen, me, to display stuff. What a pity you feel so negatively about what are beautiful languages. In German last year, which I don't have the book for, it seems, because I looked when I got this and I can't find it, so I can't show you a screenshot. Well, not a screenshot, but a photo, you know. But when I mentioned I didn't like Spanish in that as well, she also said, different teacher obviously, that it was a beautiful language. What is it about languages and beauty? Last time I had Spanish, time before last actually, just got to miss half of it this time because of a police talk thing about safety and whatnot. I don't know what this is that I'm doing. That we had her and she told us not to waste time, which I thought was very ironic. We didn't cotton on from that because she literally makes a living, for a living. She literally spends all day wasting people's time by teaching them Spanish. I don't talk over people. I don't do that. I just don't do that. Well, shut up then. You know, I've been teaching languages for years now, basically my entire career. What a waste of a life. What the boffle do you put yourself through that for, you stupid? And you know, so over the years I've sat in with other teachers, because that's what you do in the in the industry, in teaching, you sit in other classes and you observe, because don't always have your own class. So if you're with someone else, you look at their teaching style and how it differs to yours. It's strictly relevant. Does this have anything to do with learning German, or at least failing to learn German? At least I tried. Because everyone has their own teaching style, you know. Anyway, yes, you can carry on. I'll just come round and have a look at how you're getting on. If you need any help. Did you remember to put the number 5? Well, if you do, I'm sorry. You've had 5 minutes of talking. You should work in silence now. You could have bloody told us, woman. No kidding. She literally said nothing. I'm not even being sarcastic here. She literally didn't say anything about working in silence for the next 5 minutes. She let us talk for the previous quarter of an hour. That was the lesson so far. Really? No. Why have you done it like that? No, you don't just write the one, and you don't just write the number and the letter or whatever it matches. No, you have to write the full sentences. Has anyone else done that? Where you don't just write the number and the letter? We don't do that. Well, we do. You might not, but we do. And I'm sorry, but we're not telepathic. We don't know what you do and we don't. Just without you telling us. See, look, even if you look in the textbook, it says in the question. If you read the question, "Schreib die Sätze auf," which means write out the full sentences. Well, I'm sorry, I don't speak German. I know being in a lesson where you're supposed to be teaching us German, it gives you the impression that we can all speak German fluently, because obviously that's why we're learning it. I've nothing more to say. No. I think languages just set you free. If you look at a map and you... Don't bring maps into this. If you look at a map and you notice how small Britain is in relation to the rest of the world, and you look at the size of Latin America with goodness knows 20 countries, and you think, you know, you can go out there when perhaps the person next door to you is just going to be working here for the rest of their lives. It's just like liberation. I want to work here for the rest of my... I don't understand. What? I want to work here. I like this country, as much of a mess as its politics are and as grey and bland as its weather is. I like it, alright? I don't want to go abroad, okay? I'm not being racist, I'm just saying I like it here, alright? Let's continue. Because it's polite. We shouldn't expect other people to be able to speak English. If I stay here, it's going to be a lot less likely to meet someone who can't speak English. I mean, I'm not saying like that would or will never happen. But even then, it's not like someone just walks up to you and you either expect them and are disappointed. I mean, you may expect them to, but not in like a kind of schoolish way, if you know what I mean. No, that doesn't explain it. I mean, you might expect them to speak your language if they're in like your own country, but when it turns out they can't, you're not going to be angry with them. It's not like a school expecting you to have done the homework and then you haven't done the homework and then they get annoyed with you. It's more of a, oh, sorry, I just kind of, I'm sorry, I presumed you could just speak it, but alright. It's like when you pronounce something slightly wrong in a languages lesson and they have a go at you or say something slightly wrong. A German person would still know what you mean. It's only like a slip of the tongue in English. Surely. I think it's a good contrast to my other AS subjects. If by contrast you mean useless, then yeah, you're not wrong there. A language enables you to communicate with others without seeming arrogant enough to expect them to speak English. See my response to 2 quotes ago. I'm not going through all that again. If you're travelling around the world, speaking the language is better than shouting. Yeah, I know that's the old joke that just say it again but louder, but small problem there. I don't want to travel the world, and even then, I would still only have 1 more language, which is only going to allow me to speak in not that many significant places, 1 or 2 or maybe 3 at a push, and then a load of other insignificant little subsections of nowhere that no one's ever heard of. I'm not saying there are bad people there or anything, and my phone vibrates. Why is my phone vibrating? I'm not getting any notifications. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with those insignificant places, it's just if you're travelling the world, I imagine you prefer to start, or at least mainly stick to the big significant places, which 1 language isn't going to help you with in all of them. I know this isn't strictly 1 language, but still you've got to start somewhere, and well, I can't even learn 1 second language, let alone more. Languages are an inspiration, and it's very interesting to learn about countries other than your own. Yeah, but learning about the country isn't the same as learning the language they speak in the country. They're not the same thing. Learning about culture and learning a language, while they can come in the same package, are different things. And also, it's not interesting. That's one of my opinions. I admit as an opinion, by the way. I just thought I'd put that out. I think it will help me when I start to travel. Good for you. I'm not travelling. Invalid. Languages mean that you can do basically any job that you want anywhere in the world. Let's say you've learnt Spanish, and you've gone to Spain with the views of getting a job there. And you've learnt the language, but aren't as good at the job as someone from Spain. They're going to pick the guy from Spain who can do the thing better. Just because you've learnt the language doesn't automatically mean you have every qualification for every single job in the world. So yes, it means you could get a job in another country, but not just... It's not like this seems to suggest. Just learning the language doesn't automatically give you qualifications for any job. If there's someone else who is either from another country and speaks the language, or from the same country and speaks the language, who has qualifications for the job better than yours, they're going to get the job still. Just because you're foreign and can speak the language isn't going to make you any more qualified than anyone else if you're not actually more qualified than anyone else. Next. We need to understand other people, not just expect them to understand us. Pretty sure I've already come back to this one 3 times already, or twice. Yeah. This is just the expecting one all over again. You're a bit more open if you've lived abroad. You really realise that the culture is different and you have to adapt. What's the point of wasting your time going somewhere else and then having to adapt when you could just stay here and get more done without having to adapt? A language gives you confidence in dealing with other people. What, even if those other people don't also speak your second language? I'm sorry. Well, no, it doesn't give you confidence in communicating with other people. It allows you to communicate with other people, but even then, millions of people go on holiday abroad without knowing the language, and they're perfectly fine, so... Learning another language improves your understanding of your own language. Well, it just doesn't, does it? Because it's a different language. The only language that may help you understand your own is the language it came from, so like, you know, Latin or something, or... Did languages come from Greek, or was it just the ancient Greeks who invented a load of stuff? I don't even know.